Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today is day 130 of 365 days of junk journal ideas. I have been working in my fairy journal. It's just about done. And so I did want to add a couple more elements to the journal, and I have been sitting here staring at these 3 library card pockets on my desk, trying to figure out, a different way of using these. A lot of us have these. I always include these in my kits. There's different sizes of these. So I'm going to make these into something today other than what they are intended for. And they're intended just to be glued down on a page. I'm going to make something different out of them today. However, if you don't have library card pockets that are already pre-made like this, I have done a video on this channel. It's part of the 365 series, and it teaches you how to make this exact library card pocket out of regular book page. It's very simple. Basically, you can see this is one strip of paper that's folded in half down at the bottom, and you can see how it wraps around and folds over to the back. So you can construct this quite easily yourself if you don't already have pockets. Okay, but if you do have pockets, here's basically what I'm going to do with them. Let's go ahead and decorate them up. Let's put them together and then decorate them up. They're going to flip down. At least what I'm envisioning is they're going to be a flip down element. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and get some glue on these and put them together. So I want to put these two together like this. You are going to have to leave a little bit of a gap there so that they can bend. So that's what I want to do with those two. And I think I want to thumb notch these before we begin. That way you can easily get stuff in and out of them. So I'm going to take them and put I use a whale tail punch, and I'm going to put it in. We're going to thumb notch the low section right here. I'm going to put it in, and you can't really, it's not really a great thing to do on camera, but you guys will see here in just a second. There's that one. And normally if I have two that are this close together, I would attempt to do them together, but you can't really do that with this kind of envelope pocket. So just do the best that you can to do a thumb notch. There's those two, and they have thumb notches like this. So see how it kind of meets right there in the middle. So that's pretty good. The other thing we could do is we could do some side cuts. You could seal these shut, and you could have a pocket over here. And so maybe we'll do that with this one right here. I'm going to make it flip down and fold. And so I think we'll leave this one the way it is, and we'll cut off the side or the very top, something like that. So that's the way they're going to open. Let's go ahead and get them glued together, and then we will decorate them. And so you have to be careful with the glue here. I'm going to go right around the edge of this guy. Don't get glue down inside of your pocket. And we're just going to add a bit of glue here, getting that guy glued up. And we're going to stick this one inside to where they meet, just like that. And then I'm going to wiggle it just ever so slightly away so that it can fold just like that. Just giving myself a little bit of room there. That's good. And then let's go ahead and glue this one on. I do want to seal up this pocket because I think we're going to cut it in a different way. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a bead of glue right there to seal that up. And then I will proceed to add glue down here to the flap. So you can glue 3, 4, 5, whatever of them together. I only have 3 on this desk right now, but you could probably glue a lot of them together. And so I glued up my pocket and sealed it right there. And now I am just going to attach this one to it, lining them up, making sure I'm not overlapping. I don't want to overlap. Just want a little bit of a space there. There we go. Just a little space, and I'm going to do the same thing. After I get it on, I'm just going to wiggle a little bit and make sure that I can still fold that guy. So now I have 3 pockets that are all stuck together. In reality, I do think that maybe we should have punched these a little different, but it's okay. It's still going to work. Still going to be cool. And we're pretty much done with art glitter. Here we go. So let's ink these and let's decorate these. So we want to bend this guy back like that, just fold them straight. There he goes. And I do have a bone folder in here somewhere. So we are using some library pockets in a different way today. And I want to put this element at the top of a page. And then we have this guy here. And so let's fold this up like that. So we have 3 library card pockets. They're very sturdy, so they're going to be able to hold quite a bit of stuff in them. There's that. Get that bone folded over as much as we can, trying to keep it flat. There we go. Okay, so we have something that goes like this. So I can glue it on a page and make it a flip down, pull down element if I wish to. We got a little crinkling happening here. We're going to decoupage some paper over that. So I'm going to leave that crinkle for now. We can try to smooth it out, but I think it's just from the glue on the inside. Not going to worry about it because we're going to put paper over it, but there's that. Okay, so for paper, I want to use some music paper. And I have this sheet that we kind of played with last night in the live. So let's go ahead and cover a couple pockets with this to start out with. That looks pretty good. So we're going to glue that on there. We're going to put some background papers. You could ink and just do some music paper. You don't have to cover the whole thing. We also are going to have the backs be exposed. So you're going to do more decorating back there. Let's go ahead and do the whole thing on this one. Maybe I will leave a corner exposed right there. So kind of like this. We'll leave the corner exposed. Yep, okay. So we're going to glue up the pocket. And I'm using the Oohoo glue stick. And we'll do this for all the panels. So all the panels will be covered. I don't mind if I get glue up there. I just don't want to cover it in the end. And let me tear off this bottom section because we don't need that. And then I can do some final trimming here in a minute. But there's that one. Okay, good. And then up here, this will dry. I can wipe that off a little bit. I don't really care if we get ink on it. We're all good. Okay. We'll come back and we'll ink this and cut this extra off in a minute. And then from here, we can glue something else down here. I don't want to continue with the same music paper. In fact, I'll probably put the music paper again here. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to cover most of this pocket with it. Right, like that would be good. Okay, and so we have our thumb notch there. For the thumb notch, that's just going to give me a shape for later, really. We'll go ahead and redo that thumb notch. There we go. Just make sure you get glue everywhere so your paper will stick. And we're just going to go ahead and tear a little out there and put that up there. Perfection. Okay, so there we've got 2 panels covered with that music paper. We'll cut off the excess here in a minute. Let's go ahead and cover this middle panel right there. We need to cut off this excess because it's going to be in the way. So let's trim that quick. So I just bent it over backwards and trimmed it, making sure I'm not cutting into my panels. There we go. You can go ahead and do that. And then we're going to cover the backs and the middle. So this is a lot of covering here. And we're just putting anything like book page. You saw that I used music paper. You could use some paper with some handwriting. You could use digitals. It doesn't matter what you cover them with. Just get a background layer going with it. Okay, so there's that. Let's cover this mid section here. And I want to use book page for that one just to use something different. And I've got some book page here. Let's see. And I also have some handwriting and some Florentine paper. So there's lots of options. I have this that we've been playing with, but I would rather have like regular book page. Let's use this one. I like the text better on this one. So I'm just going to glue that right on there, not really worrying about, you know, how much text I get or anything like that. Just going to glue it on right there. Perfect. Okay. Glue stick. And I think this is going to be fun because you can even add additional pockets to this, some hidden pockets even. And then you can have all kinds of little hidden treasures in here and decorate this guy up with a lot of different things. So again, we have that little thumb notch there. I'm just going to tear my paper so that it goes around it mostly. And there we go. And we'll trim off the excess on that one, but let's flip it over. We're going to cover all 3 of these panels. I'm going to get those done and then I'll be back to finish. Okay, so I got it all covered. I've got the music book page, same thing on the back. It's going to work like this or some iteration of this where it folds. It can fold. It can fold any direction you want it to fold. So that's kind of fun. Now let's go ahead and ink around this guy to get some color on him. And I want to change my little inker. And I'm going to ink it with pink ink because we need more pink in this journal. So I'm going to take off this guy. I just re-inked him so he's super, super inky. And let's pick up this pink guy here. Pick up that. I can't do it perfectly today. Okay, and we're going to do the Victorian velvet today. So there's that guy. I'm going to pick up quite a bit so that we can ink this whole thing. And we're just going to ink around the whole entire thing, adding the pink in. So I'm pretty much inking at a 90-degree angle there, just to add a whole bunch of color to the edge of this. So there's that. I want to ink in here. I'm going to ink this little thumb notch guy. So I'm going to ink this entire thing with the pink ink. And that's bringing in that lovely pink color. Love it. And so we're just going to keep working our way around. And remember, when we're inking our little blending thing, we need to do that circular motion to pick up all that ink. So we're inking, 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 and then we need to do this section. And right down in here. Love it. I'm going to get some back in there. Perfect. That's wonderful. And let's do this one up here. And now this one I left a lot showing there. I just wanted a little break in the music paper. And so we've done that. And now I want to ink the edge of that music paper with pink. Trying to pick it up as much as I can. And we're going to ink this way. So we're inking the whole thing just like this. So that's how that looks so far. And we're going to keep going with this and ink the back side. It's just a nice way to use a kind of neutral base, which is all the book pages and music, but then we add in whatever color you want. You could have added blue to this, a sage green. It didn't really matter what color you chose, and you could have tailored this to make for any kind of a journal. Didn't have to be for a fairy journal. There's nothing so far specific to this, like a fairy journal, you know, would have fairies or whatever, flowers. You could do this and do it steampunk. Didn't really matter. Whatever decoration you want to do, you can do. And then anywhere where we have that torn paper, I'm just bringing that ink in and kind of making a little halo around everything. So everything has that nice pink frame to it. You can add more pink if you want, but I think that's pretty good for pink this way. All right, so then let's go ahead and decorate this guy up, and we'll talk about where we're going to stick him in a journal, how we're going to attach him, and where, what he's going to work as. He can be many different things because he flips. You could fold it around the edges of pages and have it flip like that. So, and you can cut off the top and make a pocket because we still have pocket options in here. You could add additional pockets. There's a million different things you could do with this, but let's go ahead and work with it. So my idea was to put it at the top of a journal page. So if we find a journal page in here, for instance, we'll find one without a pocket on it. Not that I would put it here, but let's just work with this one. If we put it at the top, it could then fold up like this. You could put a little paper clip sticking up here at the top and that would hold it closed. But if you put it at the top, then it would fold down like this. And all you would really need to do is just paper clip this in. You didn't even have to glue it. You could just paper clip the whole thing and it would flip back and forth. So it would be good to paper clip in. You could add a pocket up here at the top. You could add pocket here at the side and a tag would go in this side. So that's one option. The other option is to wrap it around a page like this. And then it is a wraparound thing that folds out. And then it would even fold out one more time depending on which way you glued it. And it would have pockets there. And then on this side, it would have a pocket here. If you just paper clipped this on, again, you could move it, flip it out, whatever. So there's different ways of using it. I think it was just a cute little way of adding library pockets together. So let's figure out what we want to do with it. I kind of like maybe even over the top of the page. If we folded it a little differently, maybe we could do over the top of the page. So it could go like this, which would make our pockets make more sense because we've got a pocket here. And then on this side, it will have a top pocket here and it will flip down. So I think that's the way I'm going to do mine, as top pockets. We are losing, that whole 3 flip element. I could add another envelope pocket thing on here, a library card pocket on here if I wanted more flips. I think 2 are good. So I'm going to do mine like this, where it goes over the top of a page, just like that. It's going over the top of the page. And now let's go ahead and finish decorating this one for the fairy journal. And so I've got all my little fairy journal topper elements here. I'll build the topper next Friday with you guys. And so there's that. Or maybe I'll build it ahead of time and show you. We've already gone over how I'm making the topper for the journal. But let's go ahead and do some fairies on here. If we're using it like this, now I know which direction everything is going to go. We could even add lace because this piece could be removable. So we could add some lace on here and some fairy images. I do have some printed little fairies. And I made them pretty small, so I have these ones here. You could do a little fairy image there, or even these ones would fit on there. Let's see about these. So the larger ones came in the kit. I always print you guys some focal points, some decorating bits. So let's go ahead and use some of these. Like, I really like this one right here. Let's cut her out and we'll play with it. So there's one right there. I don't even know that we would even have to do too much with these. Maybe just layer a little label or something over the top. That might be a good idea. I'm going to cut out just at the frame. At least I'm going to try to cut out just at the frame. Just at the frame. There we go. Now let's go ahead and ink this one. And I'm just going to ink everything pink, I think. I mean, why not? It doesn't show quite as much as the vintage photo oxide does, but it will give it a nice little pink border. Okay, so there's that. That can go on there just below, just below. Now you could make this a pocket. We could glue this on and have it be a side pocket right here for a little tag. Maybe we should do that. That would be cute. Just a little pocket right here for a little tiny tag. I'm not going to slide it over all the way, so let's do that. I'm going to use art glitter glue, and I'm going to glue it on 3 sides, and it will be a little pocket for a small tag. And I do have some pre-made small tags that we can stick in there. So that's just going to go right like that. Keeping it over enough so I can see my music and not going over the bottom edge. There we go. I've got quite a bit of glue on there, apparently. All right. So that's that. And she is a pocket right there for a little tag. We'll let her glue set up before I tear her off again. Okay, so just very simple. Now at the bottom of this, I will add a little label or some type of little decoration just to continue. I might do a little cluster or a little lacy element or something like that just to continue to decorate. But we are going to have a pocket here, and it's already a pocket at the top. That's number one. Let's work this way with it because we get to decorate both sides. So there's that. Let's go ahead and add something to this guy. He's going to be on the other side. So remember, he goes over the page like this. So we need to decorate this face up because this is the way it's going to be on that page. We don't have any fairies on this side. We could go ahead and add another fairy. I'm not opposed to it. I would just do it a little bit differently. So let's add this girl right here. Maybe we make her a pocket as well and we just continue with that. Maybe we make her a pocket in a different direction. Or maybe we just, you could tear her out or fussy cut her so that she isn't a same as the other side. Let's take a look and see how it looks. If I can cut around this frame. Sorry, this will be a longer video, I suppose. So there's that. Let's go ahead and make it a pocket as well. I don't see any problem with it. It's a different fairy image, different colorway. Let's go ahead and make it a pocket as well. And I'm just going to ink it with the pink. It's here. We might as well. And we'll glue that one on. Okay. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do it in the same direction. I was going to scoot it over and do it that way, but I think it will work better on the page on that side. So let's just continue and do it exactly the same as we did the last one. I'm going to attempt to let my glue set up before I put this guy on. I've been telling you guys in the videos, if you ever add too much glue or your glue is just a little too runny, just give it a moment before you stick it on. And just let that glue kind of start to solidify. The art glitter does that pretty quick, and then you can put it on. I do want to see some book page, and I don't want to cover up my thumb notch. So that's where she's going to go, right like that. Perfect. Love it. And she'll be a little tuck right there for something. And then we have this flip down section that we need to decorate. We don't want to do the same thing. So let's find a beautiful flower and put a flower on that with a label. I do have the sticker book. Sorry for my reaching. Obviously, I don't plan out my videos ahead of time. I make them live right with you. I have never glued library pockets together before. So I just make it live with you guys. Right, so this is the Botanist Sticker Anthology. I will link it in the description box below the video. It is a book that is all full of botanical stickers and images and all kinds of little accents and things like that. I have used pretty much most of this book at this point because I have been working with it for a while. So I'm going to use a pink little sticker out of it. And I think we're going to layer up this little piece of paper doily that has been floating around. So let's go ahead and put that on there like that. And then let's put an image. And I think this little rose image right here looks beautiful. So let's do that. That'll be quick. So we're going to just add glue. Now we do have ink down here and the ink will smear a little bit with the addition of moisture. So if it does, it does, and I don't worry about it. I just get some of this down, tuck my little doily in there. Get some ink under the tip right here, or not ink, glue, and then there's that. And then I had a baby wipe somewhere. I don't know where it went, but anyway, we're going to tap that down in there. Get this little edge. I don't want to lose any of it. It needs to be full. There we go. So let's get our sticker on now. And then for the sticker, I'm just going to use this rose one right here. And if you don't like the white border on these stickers, you can ink them or use that marker with them. The Tombow marker that I've been linking and talking about, you can use that to color in the white. We'll see how it looks with the white. But I went ahead and I can't talk either. I went ahead and added some additional, I'm just playing with placement there. I went ahead and added some additional, I don't know where to put it. The doily should have been a little over, but let's go ahead and add it here. I went ahead and added a little additional glue back behind that sticker, and that gave me the room to slide it around like that. And also it will help hold the sticker down. So there's that. I think when the blue glue dries, we'll be able to see that a little better. So that's that little decoration. Now let's go ahead and add a label down here for this one. We'll do a little label on each one of these little fairies and kind of decorate them up. You could do a little postage stamp or something else there. And then we have this panel, and this is the way it folds. It does fold like this. So I've got some wet glue there I want to keep out of the fold so I don't glue it closed. But that's going to go like that. We have this panel to decorate. And this is the panel that doesn't have an opening for a pocket yet. So it could have a pocket here. We could slice it open. I have paper on my finger now. We could slice it on the side and do a side pocket. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but let's go ahead and decorate it because it does go this way. So I don't want to glue that shut. I do have quite a bit of wet glue there. We'll just keep opening it. Let's go ahead and decorate that panel. And for that one, we've already done, you know, fairy flower. For this one, we should use some type of an image, either a Tim Holtz person or a butterfly, something like that. So let me grab that image, probably a butterfly, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been digging in a tray over here. I found some butterfly options for us. There's also a lot of journal cards in this tray, so we can play with that. I was thinking about these lighter color butterflies, and we could ink them pink to make them match more. Really just one butterfly and a label would do it for here, but I want to do a little bit more than that. And this little rose is sitting right there on the top. What if we did the rose and a butterfly? So we have that and we have this. Let me go ahead and ink this butterfly pink and see how I like it. I'm just going to ink it heavily with the pink ink. And we're going to get all that white colored in. And then I'll pick up a little bit more ink too. There we go. If you have the Tim Holtz crayons, the crayons color these die cuts really well too. We're getting quite a bit of pink there. That's perfect. And you need to let the ink dry in between layers if you're really trying to build on these. It doesn't build as much because these are a slick surface unless you let it dry in between layers. So we've got quite a bit on there. You could even stamp it right into your ink pad and pick up some ink that way. That's another good option. If you're really trying to build that color, just stamp it in there and pick it up. And there we go. We've got it quite pink now. So that can go on there. And it is the same color pink. It does blend a little bit. I'm going to knock some of this back and blend it. I just want to let it dry a little bit. So there's that. And let's do these roses down at the bottom. Even if they hang off a little bit, I think I'm okay with it. I want to angle it up like this. Let's see how this guy is doing. Perfection. And then I can just pounce over the top and blend that. Love it. We'll take away a little. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so we're going to glue that butterfly right on there. Right, just like that. He's kind of big, but I don't really care. Honestly, I just like him. So we're just going to put him right on there like that. And then we'll worry about cutting open a pocket. So let's do it. And I'm going to put this rose down first. I didn't ink the rose. I'm not looking for any additional pink on here. The roses are pink enough themselves. I'm trying to make sure I get all these little leaf bits and points to make them stick down just because of the way this pocket's going to work. So I'm going to wait just a second. And we're going to stick that on there just like that. And I'm going to let that leaf just hang right over the edge. It's not hanging too terribly much. Move that down. There we go. That's about where I need it. And we'll add this guy. And I did find some little labels too, and some little journal cards that can go right in those pockets behind the fairy images. And the little, can't get my glue to go on there. The little pockets will hold some little calling cards that are in the Tim Holtz ephemera. That's a lot of glue. My glue is super wet right now. I don't know why, but it is. So there's that. And I have some little calling cards that I was thinking about putting in here. They look something like this. This isn't the exact one, but they look something like that. And they're little calling cards that can go in there. I have a pile of them if I can get them out of this bin. There's like a pile of them. And so these could go in here. That one's a little too wide that way, but perfect right there. So something like that will slide in these little fairy pockets. Just like that. We could add additional elements. There's even these that would work as little labels. So anyway, I'm going to leave that just like that for now. And let's go ahead and stick our butterfly on now. The glue has calmed down enough where I can get him on there. I just want him at this angle. So we're just going to stick him on. And there he is. And so anytime I'm using the thicker Tim Holtz elements like the people or the butterflies, I use the art glitter. If it's thick like this or cardstock, then I use art glitter as opposed to the glue stick. The glue stick is more for thin paper elements. Okay, so let's cut a pocket. So if he flips down like this, we could have a top pocket right here, but the problem is when it flips, it would fall out. So I'm just going to do a side pocket right down this side right here. And the way that we're going to do that is we're just going to slice it open with scissors. And I'm going to slice from this side just because I have thicker elements on that side. We're going to do just a little sliver right there. And it's going to come up, and you're going to make sure that you don't cut into that next element, which I just did, but you're not going to do that. I think I'm just on the paper there, so I'm going to continue that little paper bit. There we go. And we're going to ink that because we just cut it, and ink it on this side. And now we should have a pocket right here that we can stick, because it goes in this way, that we can stick a journal card in, or a tag can come out of that pocket. So that's perfect. We still have our pocket here. We have our pocket here. And on the other side, we'll have a pocket there. But that will flip up, and we need to continue to decorate because we've only decorated there's 6 sides total. You've decorated 4 so far. We need to continue and decorate back here on these 2, because when it's in the journal, this will be the side. It'll open up like that. So we need to decorate these 2. Remember, it goes over a page. So these 2 will be decorated face up, just like this. So this book page, really, you could have put it on the other direction. I'm not going to care about it. Doesn't matter. And let's go ahead and find something to decorate these 2 with. We have some fairies on here already. I don't feel the need for more fairies. Let's go ahead and find something beautiful to decorate those 2 with. I think we'll put a flower down here. We'll continue with a similar little doily decoration. These paper doilies are super fun to use. They just add a little bit of, texture to the page, background to make things stick out more, that kind of a element. So I added quite a bit of glue there. I'm going to get that doily up high like this and just tap it in. I don't want to lose the whole bit of this, but some of it will pull off. There we go. And that's perfect. And then for the extra glue, if you just keep a little baby wipe handy, you can wipe some of that off. It dries clear, so you don't need to worry about it. I have some vintage photo on this baby wipe, apparently. All good. We're going to stick a flower there. I'm going to use the same sticker book and grab a flower out of it. Again, sorry for the longer video. It is Saturday. Hopefully you have time to watch it. And so I have these little pink, I think these are called begonias. I'm not sure. I live in Arizona, and we don't have flowers in Arizona. I mean, we do, but not a lot. So you have to pardon me if I get the name of the flower wrong. I think it's a begonia. It may not be. Who knows? And There's those. Let's go ahead and stick them on there. I'm going to actually trim some of this off. I just don't need all this leafy bit right here. So I'm going to trim off the extra leaf. When it's on here, no one will know I trimmed it. And there we go. That actually opened up a nice spot for a label too. And I'm going to keep these down a little bit. Right there. Okay, let's add the glue to the back. You should be adding extra glue to any kind of sticker or washi tape that you're sticking in a journal. The glue that's on the backs of stickers is meant for going on a flat piece of paper for a short period of time. It's not made to go over layered up elements like this, and it's not made to last for all of eternity either. So if you're using a sticker, make sure that you're adding glue to it. Stickers, washi, whatever the case may be. So there's that. There's my baby wipe to clean up that, just so I don't get it in it and get glue everywhere. Okay, let me get rid of this extra sticker that's hanging here. And then I'm going to cut off the excess of that, and we'll stick a label down there in that open section. I don't want that sticker hanging over the edge. There we go. This right here is this little rose leaf, and I'm going to leave that little piece that you see there. We can ink it just so it doesn't look strange, but it's going to stay there. Okay, so a label here, maybe a postage stamp up here would be nice. Let me pull a postage stamp quick. And we'll do that. Maybe this is also a good opportunity to add some of these words from the Tim Holtz ideology book. I have rarely used those, but let's add a sticker to here, a sticker stamp. We have these lovely green ones, but I was really thinking of maybe something in the blue or purple family, since it's a fairy journal after all. Let's use a blue one. Let's go with... maybe this guy here will work. Let's try him out. I like that. Let's do it. I'm not even going to ink this one. Usually I would put art glitter on it because it's a little thicker and the edge eats up your glue stick, but I'm just going to add quite a bit of glue stick on there, and we're going to call that one good there. Perfect. That's a large tax stamp sticker. So there's that. Let's look at adding, ooh, I just found something else. This is from the Stamperia paper pad, and they have these little journal card cutouts on the back so you can have journal space. And they also have these little tags and these circles. I think I'll cut out some of these and fill up some of these pockets with those as well. And those were sticking there to remind me to use them. So this guy, he does not have a pocket on this side. He just has the flower because the pocket is back here right there. But in this pocket, I can stick those Stamperia journal cards. So those will work nicely there. And we just need to decorate this side. Now, you could add an extra little pocket right here. The problem is it would be upside down when it is folded over the edge of the page. I don't know if I will or I won't. Let's kind of think about that for just a moment. Let's add a pocket. It would have been nice to add a pocket right here, right on the front of it that had that top pocket. But I think we're going to add a pocket to this guy, and we'll make it be where it comes from the side over here. So I want to add a panel here that has a side tuck. That way nothing falls out when it flips up and down. So let's go ahead and build that. For this, let's find some kind of piece of ephemera that we can just quickly make a pocket with. And I just found my roll of this, the German measuring tape. So let's add some of that. And these just fell out of my little ephemera bin as well. So let's go ahead and use this on whatever element we're going to build. Yep, just like that. Let's use one of those. And let's build that on top of a little piece of Tim Holtz ephemera. So you're getting a lot of things here in this video. We're doing all kinds of crazy things. There's another little card that can go in one of those side tucks. all kinds of crazy ephemera building. This is a little piece of Tim Holtz ephemera that I normally wouldn't use. It's actually a copy of like a little invoice or something like that. And I have a lot of those that I just haven't used. But we could layer this up and use this as our little pocket. And so we'll put a little fairy image inside of this little frame. And really I'm using this for color only. Let's do it like this. We'll make this the pocket and we'll put the little card in on that side. Let me just take one quick little look in my ephemera bin and make sure that there is not a better option for a pocket. I have that, and that would make an awesome pocket. The problem is when it's flipped down like this, the thing would fall out of the pocket. So while I like that, let's keep looking. What else is in here for little Tim Holtz cards and ephemera pieces that maybe we can turn into the perfect pocket? I'm not really seeing too terribly much else. There's this that we could put a frame on, but I have text right here, so I don't think that will work for us. I'm still looking. Maybe I could pause the video and take a look, but I think we're just going to use what we have there. I don't really see too much of anything else to use. So let's go with that. I mean, that one's too big. Even if we put it on there, it's too big. I was looking for something that wasn't quite so pink. While I like the pink, I was looking for something different. Okay, so I found this little pack of Tim Holtz ephemera called Memoir. I'll link it in the description box below. Most of this stuff right here, almost all of it came from this pack. We are going to use a little bit of that. I found all kinds of little journal cards, all kinds of little labels, decorative elements. What I have decided on is I have decided on using this blue card as my little pocket. And I like it because it's on a lightweight cardstock, so it doesn't add a lot of bulk, but it will work as our pocket. And so I'm going to ink right in there because that's where we're going to do our little pocket. So that's going to get glued on there. I have this white frame that I'm going to put some ink on, and we're going to layer that on top of this blue card. And I have this little fairy image that I want to put in here so that we can kind of see that little fairy. I'm going to position her where I can get most of her wings in there and a little bit of the flower. So that looks good there for her. I'm just going to kind of estimate where I need to snip off the excess back here. Just like that. And just like this. And that's going to work just fine there. That's going to go on there. We need to put some ink on that frame, and then we'll talk about what we can stick in. I decided against this because it is just too much pink for me, but I pulled out a lot of other pink elements that we can use. Let me get rid of this junk, and we'll begin to ink our little frame. I'm just going to use the pink, I think. I know I keep using pink, but I just want to hit the high points and add a little pink here or there to bring out that embossing detail that's on this frame. And then I'll go around and ink the edge as well. But for now, I just want to get that little high point. It kind of shows the little flowers. Perfect. I started out very small, not putting a lot of ink on, and now I'm increasing that a little bit, making sure to get the inside edge of the frame as well. I don't like it when people forget this little part right here. So inside here, you need to add ink just the same way that you would ink the edge of anything. Some people kind of forget about that little inside frame. I mean, I'm sure I have at some point too, but that should be inked as well. There we go. That way you don't see any white edge there. And then we'll go around the edge here and add ink. So yes, this piece is taking an hour, over an hour. It is 3 a.m. I did a 3-hour live tonight as well. I am having a little bit of trouble sleeping. I have had that terrible headache for days now, really. And it's because I started a new medication and I am also now having trouble sleeping because I just have a headache and whatever. So I'm in my craft room, happily crafting away, getting into the details there. All right, perfect. I love it. Let's get a little more here. Just kind of blend that little bottom up. Okay, I think I'm happy with my frame. I'm happy with my little girl in it. I love it. It's beautiful. So I'm going to center it right about here. So we need to cut off just a little up here at this top corner. And see the way I'm just kind of holding the frame over it, and then I'm snipping in with my scissors just to snip off what is sticking out. Okay, so let's use our art glitter and get that on. I am going to glue the back of my frame, and the way that I'm going to glue it is right close to the edge. And I will give this glue just a minute to set before I put it on. So I've glued really close to that edge, and then I'll bring some glue out around just a little bit here or there. And there we go. And then just give that glue just a minute before we put it over top of our image. We don't want it to seep out. And we're going to try to position it where we've got mostly her wings showing. Something like that. That looks pretty good. I've got the whole picture in there. I don't have any little parts showing. And that's our little fairy girl in our little frame. It's super cute. And so that's going to go there. And we're going to glue that to this card. And that's going to make a pocket. And I want to position it where I'm hanging the frame over the back edge so that I don't damage the frame when I'm putting a journal card in there. So let's go ahead and glue that on. We've already inked our card. And now we're just going to go around the outside of the frame, hitting all the little high points there and putting some in there. And that's that. And again, we're positioning her more in the back. We'll scoot it up, straighten it out, and there it goes. And it's not sticking out the edge there, so we're all good. Now let's glue this guy on as a pocket. You still could come in with a little label right there. In fact, I might, if I can find the right tiny little label. It needs to be very small right in that direction. But anyway, let's go ahead and glue this on as a pocket. So we're going to go top, and we're going to go back and bottom. And I think we're good there. That goes right there. And we left lots of space here for a tag to stick out or a card or whatever we're going to put there. Giving that a minute to set up. And I do want to add a little bit more pink in this area. It's just looking a little too whatever. So let's add some pink there. We're very pink with our little flip down library card pocket. Excuse me. And I found these in the Tim Holtz ephemera, and I was wondering if we could use those and put some little images on them too. It's an option. It doesn't really fit in that pocket. I don't think it will fit in either of these either. Yeah, it's a little bit too big. So, okay, those are out. We don't need to use those. But what else do we have? We have this little bingo card, and that would have made a cute little pocket too, even if you snipped off some of the sides. It's just more of a piece of ephemera to stick in. So we're just about wrapping this up. We're to the point now where we could add some little details. We could add some labels if we wanted to. Like I could cut this label down and do something right around there. Get it just a small little label. Just a small little label would be cute there. So there's that. That flips down. We have a pocket off to the side on this guy, right? Yes, we do. He's right there. Let's put a journal card in there. So we have these options for Tim Holtz ones that are just sitting here. I could add some fairy images or something. He needs popped open. Once you use him a couple of times or pop him open, he'll stay open. But anyway, he is a pocket on the side. I do want to cut out these and put these in here as well. And they're coming from the top, so we'll add those in the little other sections. I just kind of bent that guy a little bit. We'll add these ones here. So these journal cards will stick out the top in these little library card pocket sections. And on this side, I'll fill the little side ones with Tim Holtz ephemera just because it slides in and out nicely. And so we could put little birds in here or something, you know, to stick in there. We could layer up a couple of elements in there just so that it's fun and there's multiple things to pull out. So we could add that and that really. And those could stick out. And then this is just decoration because it has elements, you know, on the other side of it. So that goes over the page like that. And then it flips up and you just see this on one side. And then this is the element on the other side. It folds down. Again, here you could add, you know, a couple of journal cards. Let's maybe use this pink bingo card and this little rose card. Let's get those in there. Something like that. That looks pretty good. We've got those kind of sticking out the edge. And then we've got our rose here, our fairy here. I think I would like something else there. The black is just a little too dark maybe for this. So let's see if we can get these blue butterflies work there with her blue butterfly wings. And then I could cut down one of these journal cards maybe and use it. And I also have this sheet of little tags. So maybe I'll put some string on the little tags or some ribbon and tuck those in there. So that's the way we did it. It's pretty much complete. It is a flip down thing. I showed you how it's going to go over the top of a page for me. It's going to go like this over the top of a page. So if I have a journal page, I don't really have one. Imagine this is a journal page. It's going to go over the top like this with my little fairy on one side. That flips up and you have that pocket. So that's that on that side. I actually think we folded this wrong. Yes, we did. There we go. So this goes on one side. How did I have it? I had it like this. This goes on one side. Yep, that goes on one side and it flips up and you have just that little girl pocket there. Then on this side, you have these two. You could flip it the other way. That would also work. Just like that. But it's kind of cute and it can come off the page too. So it's kind of a 3D interactive element where they get to play with it once they get the journal. Lots of different options. You could have cut pockets in different locations. You could have attached your library cards in different spots so that they would attached your library pockets in a different way. Maybe you used 4 of them instead of 3 so that it would continue to fold. But I think it's a cute idea for library card pockets. And I would like to add some little sentiments to the fairies just over in this direction. So I'm going to continue to play a little bit more. And then finally, I'm going to go to sleep. I hope you guys enjoyed this super long, hour-long video. And I will see you guys again soon. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.